Hello and welcome to the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from my studio here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Welcome to all new and returning viewers. I know it's been a long time since I've done a traditional podcast, so thank you so much if you've been here before and you're returning once again. Thank you for hanging in there. And if you're new, welcome. I hope you enjoy seeing what I have to share today. And that will include a little bit of knitting, some acquisitions, my preparations for the farmers market I'll be participating in this summer, and a little bit of my sculpting and painting of my charms for both my Etsy shop and the farmers market. As well, I'll be drawing for 4 prizes in the Harry Potter knit along over in the Ravelry group. Thank you so much to everyone who has been participating in that and keeping it going. It's been wonderful to see everybody's projects as well as all the chatter and support. And again, Vonnie, thank you so much for being a great moderator and keeping that going. It's been wonderful to see everyone's participation. So why don't we go ahead and get right into the prize draws. I'm not going to make you wait until the end of the podcast for that. So earlier today, I went over to random.org and I entered in posts between numbers 2 and 610. And that is for all the entries from January 1st to June 30th. So I thought I would draw for 4 prizes today, and the first one is for a $10 US or less giftable Ravelry pattern, and the winner of that prize goes to post number 388, Renna Gale, and that is Renna. So congratulations, Renna. When you see this, check out Ravelry and choose a pattern that I can gift to you that is $10 US or less, and just private message me on Ravelry and I'll be sure to gift that to you. So congratulations. And the next prize is for a platform 9 3/4 progress keeper, and I think I have them here, prizes that I'm going to hand out today. Yes. So it'll be coming to you in a little Harry Potter bag, of course, along with some Birdie Bott's Every Flavor beans. And these are the Every Flavor beans. These aren't just regular jelly beans. So be very careful when you eat these because you may get a grass-flavored one or even worse, besides wonderfully flavored ones. And this is the Progress Keeper that is the prize that will be in that little bag, and it goes to post number 72, Caspar Clark, and that is Angie. So congratulations, Angie. When you see this, private message me on Ravelry and send me your mailing address and I will get that right off to you. Okay, the third prize today is a Chocolate Frog Progress Keeper, and these aren't available in my shop anymore. I didn't want to get into trouble with any copyright infringement, so I took these off the shop. So the only way you can get them now is by winning them in the knit along. So you'll get one of those, as well as, again, some Birdie Bott's Every Flavor beans, and in this little Harry Potter bag. And that goes to post number 381, M's Little Nest, and that's Emma. So congratulations, Emma, you've won the Chocolate Frog Progress Keeper. So congratulations. As well, please PM me on Ravelry with your mailing address so I can get that out to you. And the final prize that we'll draw for today is for the Platform 9 3/4 bag. And I still had a couple of these. And this is a really nice big tote bag. It's an official Warner Brothers Harry Potter bag. And this goes to post number 440, M. Waybrandt, and that's Melissa. So congratulations, Melissa. as well, please send me your mailing address and I will get that off to you. So congratulations to all the winners today. I have been keeping up with the prize drawings even though I haven't been podcasting. So in the Ravelry group I have been posting in the last few months prize winners for each month for this year. So if I haven't announced them on the podcast, doesn't mean I haven't been pulling for prizes. That's actually the 19th prize that we've handed out so far this year, and there are many more to come. So at the end of July, we'll be doing another drawing for even more prizes. So congratulations to everyone, but if you didn't win today, never fear. There'll be plenty of opportunities to win right through to the end of December. So if you haven't participated in the knit along and you haven't read the post over in Ravelry, this is a knit along that started January the 1st and it goes right through the whole year until December 31st. So even if you haven't been participating until now, it's never too late to join us. You can head over if you're doing something that is Harry Potter related, either the pattern name relates to Harry Potter or Wizards and Witches. The yarn, if it's dyed with some kind of reference to that Harry Potter universe, or any way that you can convince us that it belongs in the Harry Potter universe. We're not that strict. You can certainly check out all the rules and regulations in the first post of the Harry Potter knit along over in Ravelry. There'll be links below the video so that you can click right over there if you're interested and you haven't been participating yet. So thank you everyone though that has been participating in that knit along. It's a lot of fun to see all the Harry Potter fans still. And I believe I just saw a post on Pottermore saying it's been 20 years since the second book came out, The Chamber of Secrets. So it's great to see all the kids that have grown up with that genre, and now even like second generations of kids enjoying the series as well. Can't believe it's been 20 years. So thank you also, Vonnie, for all your work in the knit along. It's really greatly appreciated. Okay, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, I haven't accomplished too much knitting-wise. I've been so busy with other things. I've been in a real knitting slump, to be honest. I think it was partially due to both getting prepared for these farmers markets and building up my Etsy shop, as well as probably a little bit of burnout. Working with the Harry Potter House Cup was a lot of work, and keeping up with all the prompts and projects that you're assigned over there really did keep me very, very busy. And I think it is a partial burnout, getting everything done within certain time frames that really made me take a little bit of a break from knitting for a while. I'm starting to get my mojo back, but today I have 3 small projects that I completed that I haven't shown you previously on podcast, and one that's currently on the needles. So let's see. As usual at the House Cup, there are specific prompts for Quidditch and classes and that kind of thing. So these small projects were in response to that. So the first one that I have to share with you is a mug cozy that I did. And I don't have it around a mug right now, but it was just a little cabled cozy. It's so soft. I used this Loops and Threads Woolike, and this is in their chocolate colorway. It's very, very soft. I think it's just acrylic though. 85% acrylic, 15% nylon. So it's fine for something like this mug cozy. And I used the pattern Mug Jumper by Daria Davenport. It was a very cheap pattern. It was $2 Canadian on Ravelry. And I got it because I really love the cabled pattern on it. It also had, and I tried to put on, but I ripped it out, a little like turtleneck for the mug handle, but it was much too tight for the mug that I had knit this up for, so I just removed it. So regardless, even without it, it works really well, and it fit a prompt. I can't even remember the prompt that I did it for, but it's always nice to have a few mug cozies around. So that was a nice, real quick project, very easy, other than, as I said, the little handle part of it being tight. It was really quite simple to do. And I used US, let's see, 7s or 4.5 millimeter needles for that, because I held that loops and threads yarn double for that, because I didn't have any thicker yarn in the colorway that I wanted for that. But so that worked out fine. The other small project that I did was a little cloth, and I used a pattern that's actually a washcloth, but I didn't make this out of cotton, so it's going to be a cloth that I'm going to be using in our display for the farmers market. So that's something that I'm working on right now. I'll talk more about that later, but I thought it would look nice under some of my charms. So what I did was I used the pattern by Megan Kellen called the Ears of Grain Cloth, and I believe I've made this before. I probably did make it into a washcloth using cotton yarn before, but this time I had to make something that was referencing, I think, a monument or something in our hometown, and so I chose the Golden Boy, which is a statue on the top of our legislative buildings. So I wanted to make something referencing the Golden Boy, who holds sheaths of wheat in his arms, so that's why I chose the pattern. And then I had this still some more Dreams in Fiber by Erica Luder, her golden snitch colorway yarn, so I thought that was perfect for making my golden ears of grain cloth. So as I said, it's not a cloth for using as a washcloth. I'm going to use it more like a doily underneath my some of my display on my farmer's market table. So this was very easy to do. Again, very small, US number 4 needles, that's 3.5 millimeter, and the Dreams in Fiber yarn. This is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So yeah, I used this for so many projects. I really love it. This is her Spark Sock colorway. I don't know if she still offers it or not. I don't think she does, to be honest. So those were 2 really quick projects to fill in some prompts over at the House Cup. And the third one that I completed since our last podcast is a medium maple leaf. And this I've made before as a small project. I used the Decorative Knitted Maple Leaf pattern by Svetlana Gordon. And it's a $5 Canadian pattern over on Ravelry, but I've used it a few times. What's nice about this pattern is you can do it in small, medium, or large size. And the first time I did it, I used the small instructions. And then this time I made a medium maple leaf, and it's very appropriate for Canada Day. A little bit hard to show you here, but I will have pictures as usual at the end as well. So this is really nice, and I used it as decor this weekend, of course. And yeah, I just use it as you know, a little cup, cozier plate to put things on. So yeah, the yarn that I used for this is the Barocco Fiora, and I have this colorway. I believe the color is number 3855. It doesn't have it on here. I think they call it something like peach something, and I don't know why they would, because it's a deep red. I believe this is the same yarn that I used for my Santa Mouse, and that's why I bought it, because of its rich red color. So I thought that was perfect for a maple leaf, of course. And for this pattern, I used US number 5 needles, or 3.75 millimeter, And yeah, I'm sure I'll be making more of those maple leaves. Those are really quite easy to do. So, and I really love the way they come out. So the only project that I have currently on the needles is something that I started again for the house cup. It was for my upcoming owl, which is a project that should take you about 3 months to complete. And after doing the last owl, my big blanket that I made that's, fits my bed, I think that because I had worked on that so hard to get it done by the deadline, that's what really burnt me out to knitting for a little while. So I did propose this owl, but I haven't really got very much done at all. So if in the future I want to submit it for what they call a detention owl, I can pick it up and work on it again. But if I don't do that, well, I can just do it at my own leisurely pace and not worry about deadlines, because I'm certainly too far behind to get it completed for this session over at the House Cup. But regardless, I'll show you what I've done so far. This is a pattern that I used from a book that is currently out of print, but you certainly can find it on eBay or other places, I'm sure, and that's called Charmed Knits. And it's a Harry Potter pattern book. It's not official, it's unofficial. It's projects for fans of Harry Potter, and it's very popular. It has the Weasley sweater and other things in it. And the one that I'm working on now is called the Quidditch sweater. So I am changing it up a little bit, though. What I did was, for my project, I wanted to make it as close as possible to the movie references that you see Ron and Harry and the other Quidditch players wearing the Gryffindor Quidditch sweaters. So there's a little bit different to the pattern that they have in here, a little bit more detail in the arms and the base of the sweater. So besides those little differences, otherwise I'm following pretty much it's a very simple knit flat 2x2 rib sweater. And what I chose for the red color is some Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and this is in Garnet Heather. I just love this color, so I got plenty of these quite a while ago. This is worsted weight yarn. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool, so I don't find it scratchy at all, but it definitely is going to be a fall and winter sweater. Obviously, now that it's July, it's much too hot to wear and work on, so this may be something that I decide to pick up again in the fall for a detention owl. So this was the main color. And then for the gold highlights, it's again the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, this time in Golden Heather. And I got a few balls of this. So, as I said, it's knit flat. Even so, I still use my circular needles. And before I I lost my knitting mojo, I did get a little bit done. So this is I think it's the back that I start with. So it has a little bit of the gold detail on here, and I'm supposed to knit probably another 6 inches or so before I start doing some decreases for the sleeves. And because it's knit flat, it's just back piece, front piece. The sleeves I may do in the round and then attach, I'll see. And then there's a whole block of the gold color that goes across the chest and then around the neck. I'll put a picture in here to show you what the movie reference version looks like. Now, I also have, I wonder, do I have it in here? Ah, yes. When I was in Orlando a few years back, I spent an entire day at the Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and I got myself all kinds of goodies from there, including, my Gryffindor scarf and other goodies like my wand and that kind of thing. And a couple of the other things that I wanted to get were some crests, some badges. So I still do have 2 of these, and I may put one on the Quidditch sweater if I decide to. So that will make it even more movie reference authentic. So I'll see at the end. Once I finish the sweater, I'll decide whether I'm going to put the badge on it or not. That just is hand sewn on there. So yeah, it's going to be a while before that's completed, but when I do, I will let you know how it goes. So that's basically it, knitting wise. Okay, I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank Lisa of Fiber Nymph Dye Works Yarn Shop and the 90% Knitting podcast to say thank you so much for collaborating with me on your latest yarn club. Lisa has such a wonderful yarn. I have plenty of it in my stash. I love using her colorways. They're always so much fun. And I was just thrilled when she and I collaborated on her Happy Hour Yarn Club. And over the last 6 months or so, she has been sending these club members 3 skeins of yarn that were all based on adult beverages. So she was also so very sweet to send me some of her yarn as well. And what she asked me to do was to come up with some new designs in Progress Keepers to complement the colorways that she was creating for this club. And so the first one that she did, I believe it was at the end of February, was for beer. And so for that, I created a pretzel Progress Keeper. And then the second part of the yarn club was wine, and so I did another stitch marker for that, and that was some cheese to go along with the wine. And this past weekend she announced that she has sent off the final installment of that yarn club, and I'm not going to say what it is in case you are part of that club and you haven't received it yet. So the next podcast I'll show you the special Progress Keeper that I created for that. But until then, at least I can show you the first 2 installments. So here is her colorway that's beer for Happy Hour. And in her yarn, she included some information about the colorway. And this one is called Down at the Pub. And this is different kinds of varieties of beer, including stout, wheat, nut brown, Irish red, pilsner, and amber ale. And so what I had great fun creating was this pretzel stitch marker to go along with it. And if you can't see it very well, I will put pictures at the end, as always, of this. So that was a lot of fun to come up with that. And because I was doing these especially for her yarn club, these are exclusive to her club for 6 months. So you won't see these stitch markers or Progress Keepers in my shop until the fall. So yeah, that's the first one that I did for her. And then the second one was wine. And this is just beautiful. Now this one, the first one that I showed you, this is on her bounce base. And this one is on her traveler base. Beautiful, beautiful colors. And the browns, you know, I can see making something for the fall with this. I just love browns as well. So I forgot to mention that. That's going to be a great fall colorway. And this one is Wine O'Clock Somewhere. So this is, again, her self-striping yarn club. And this is celebrating 4 of her favorite wines: Merlot, White Zinfandel, Blackberry, her personal favorite, and Chardonnay. So it's just so beautiful. And on her traveler base, I adore all of her colorways. It just amazes me how she can do self-striping yarn. And for this, to complement wine, is some cheese. So what I did was a little Progress Keeper that's some Swiss cheese, on a wooden plate with a little knife on there to cut it with. And again, that's exclusive to her yarn club. You won't find this in my shop until the fall. So those were a lot of fun to make up. And as I mentioned, there will be a third one on its way in the next few days to everyone who is in that yarn club. And I had great fun making a progress keeper for that as well. So again, thank you so much, Lisa. It was just a thrill to collaborate with you, and I hope we can do it again sometime. It was a lot of fun. And speaking of yarns, I also received in the mail something that I treated myself to, and again is Harry Potter related. This is the second skein of London House yarn that I just had to get another one of these because I used every last bit of my last Four Founders colorway by London House Yarns. And you have to kind of hit her shop when she posts on Ravelry that she'll be opening up the shop to new orders again, because I know she doesn't do it all the time. And it does take a few weeks to receive these. I think I ordered this in either late April, early May, and it just came in the last few days. So, but I love this Four Founders colorway. If you're not familiar with the term Four Founders, those are the four houses in Hogwarts. So it has colorways that have two colors each for the four houses: silver and green for Slytherin, a brownish beigey and blue for Ravenclaw, black and yellow for Hufflepuff, and of course the gold and red for Gryffindor. So you know, I really love making so many things with this yarn. Last time I really wanted to get another skein, and I don't know if you've been here before, you've seen I've knit up my, I don't think you can see it in the screen here, my tie. I've done socks in this and other small projects with this colorway before. So yeah, that was exciting to get one of these again. And Tawny, who joins me here in the studio quite often, was just trying to get her nose in this colorway, and I didn't know why she was kind of so interested in snuggling up to this yarn, and then I realized it was the pure peppermint tea that she had sent with the yarn, so it must have been that was attracting Tawny to my newest yarn. So this smells awesome. It's from the London Tea Company, so that was really sweet of her to throw that in the package. But it was funny to see that the cat would not leave that alone, so I guess she likes peppermint as well. So yeah, so that's the, I haven't done a lot of stash acquisitions. I've got plenty of yarn that will probably take me forever to get through, especially since I'm not knitting as much as I have in the past. I don't know if that'll continue or if the fall and the cooler weather will get me motivated again to pick up the needles more, but that was nice to get in my stash. So I guess I'll just kind of talk about what's been going on in regards to my non-knitting life lately. I've been trying to concentrate more on building up my inventory in my Etsy shop. So I'm pleased to say that I've now got 50 designs in there, and so it was great to get those up. I know that the more variety of stock that you have, the more people can find you in searching on Etsy. So I'm looking forward to adding even more, but that was kind of a milestone that I wanted to reach. So that was nice to do that. And I'll share with you a few of my most recent offerings that I've made recently. And also I've been getting prepared for this farmer's market. A few months ago, my daughter found out that one of her favorite places just outside of town is called Pineridge Hollow, and it's just north of Winnipeg, and it's actually in Birds Hill Park, and it's an old renovated farmhouse, I believe, and they have a wonderful, beautiful restaurant, great gift shops, They're a very popular destination for weddings, and they also have like a petting zoo there as well. And we didn't realize over the last 17 years they've been holding farmers markets. And so daughter said, why don't you see if you can get a table to sell your charms there. And she sews a few knitting bags, so we thought we would go together and see if we could get approved to have a table. And we were approved, so that was wonderful. So instead of doing every week, they allow you just to choose the dates that you want to do, and they run the market every Saturday from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m., so it's only 4 hours. But they do it from June right through to September. So because daughter is getting married in September, when we knew we wouldn't be able to do too many, we thought we would just try it out, see if we like it, see if it's, worth our while to do, and kind of get that experience, because we've never done a farmer's market before. So what we did was we decided to do 2 weekends, and one is coming up in 2 weeks. July the 14th will be our first one, and then we thought we would wait a month and do August the 18th. And so those are the 2 Saturdays that we're scheduled to go to Pineridge Hollow. At the beginning of June, before the first weekend, they very kindly invited all the vendors that had been approved to sell to a dinner. And what they did was they went over all the basic rules and regulations and suggestions and answered all kinds of questions and everything for us. And it was really nice. It was a free of charge, delicious dinner. And yeah, we had a great time. So we were able to see where the area is going to be. If you have your own tent, you could have your own spot. I think there's about 50 vendors every week out there. And what we decided to opt for, instead of shelling out for a tent so far, is to choose an already covered area. So we don't know exactly where we're going to be, but they have 2 sections that are already covered, so we don't have to worry about the weather. So all we have to do is provide the table, our own display. I got a big banner made. I'll see if I can throw in, at the end, I'll throw in some pictures of some of the things that we've done already for it. I redid my banners. Instead of being the dark brown logos that I had previously, I decided to lighten them up, so I redid my logo. So now for all of my non-Etsy sales, I'm going to be using these business cards and very similar card backers for my charms. Once I sell out of the other ones, then I'll start using these exclusively. But I wanted to make a big banner for behind our table, so I just used this same logo. So anybody who's on Ravelry might notice that I changed the logo over there as well to match this. So that was nice to get everything kind of all uniform and very eye-catching, instead of the very dark browns that I had before. So as well as doing a banner and business cards and card backers, designing all of those, the other thing I also wanted to do was instead of us having a cash box, which isn't probably the best thing to have out in the open, is for daughter and I to wear some vendors' aprons. So on Pinterest, of course, I found all kinds of suggestions on how to sew up vendors' aprons, so I made daughter and I each one. And what I wanted to do was have them sport the new logo. So what I did was I uploaded to Spoonflower my design, my logo design, and then I just got a fat quarter done, and it printed out 8 of these logos, and I did 2 different kind of colors, one darker than the other, to see how they come out once they were printed up. So this is just on basic cotton. I just wanted to use this so that I could make patches basically out of this with our logo, and put them first of all on the apron, or I could use them for anything else that I decide to in the future. So it was dirt cheap just to get like a fat quarter done and get all of those logos printed up. So then I got out the sewing machine and some material that I already had on hand and sewed us up 2 aprons. So this one's daughter's. Mine is the same. and it's got really long ties on them so that we can wrap them around our back and then tie them at the front again. But this stripe material that I made it out of was just something I had in my stash, in my fabric stash. I got a whole bolt of this cotton fabric for $11. They were just a huge sale. I think it was like 90% off, something ridiculous like that at Fabricland one day. So this I think will work great. We have a zippered pocket so that we can put the cash safely in there. And then we have another pocket here that I just put snaps on. These are the same kind of snaps I use for my DPN holders. And then if we end up not using Square on our phones to take like credit card or debit cards, we can also do just regular receipts using this receipt book. Then a few other pockets to put our phones or pens or that kind of thing in. And then also there's two other, I think there's 7 pockets in all. And this one's just the perfect size for slipping in business cards. So those go in there. So yeah, 7 pockets. This will be great for wearing while we're manning the booth. So, and also to make it a little more Victorianish, I used some lace that I had in my stash as well. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to make up 2 of those, and we're all set then for that, at least for the farmers market. Let's see. Of course, I've been building up my stock. Just recently in the last few days, I've been carting them up. When I sell on my Etsy shop, I send my charms in small cotton-filled boxes to protect them in mailing. But when I'm selling either wholesale at the local yarn shop or at like craft fairs or markets, I put my charms on cards. So I've been doing that and pricing all of those. And then of course working on the display. We have a big large wooden table that we're going to be using for our display. So I'm still in the process of designing that, what it's going to finally look like. But probably the next time I podcast, I will have photos of you know what it looks like. I'm sure I'll have photos and video from the market. As I mentioned, this past weekend, daughter and I headed out to Pineridge Hollow to check out the farmers market as customers and to see what other vendors did with their tables. There's so many different setups that you can do. So much information on both YouTube and on Pinterest, on suggestions on how you should set up your booth and displays and all kinds of ideas and checklists and that kind of thing. I've been very busy learning all of that. But here's just a little bit of video from when we were just walking around to different vendors. We bought some beautiful organic chocolate and some, oh, so delicious local honey, and the 2 flavors of honey that I treated myself to. I got a jar each of cherry flavored honey, and again it's organic, and the other one is blueberry honey. Oh, it's just so good, a real treat. So there's all kinds of vendors, everything from you know, farmers with their wares, of course, with vegetables and fruits and that kind of thing, to baked goods, jewelry. There was a leather artist there, cards, all kinds of different things. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to participating as a vendor as well. And another thing that I've been busy with is not only just doing my charms, but I've been making a few other accessories to sell at the farmers market, and if I have some left over, I'll be popping them in my shop. So you'll have to keep an eye out for some of those later. They include some items that my charms can hang from. So that's all I'm going to say right now. I will show you those next time I record a video. And I think the next recording that I do will be reverting back to a non-podcast style, because what I'd like to do is kind of celebrate my 50 designs in my shop by showing a video exclusively about my charms, the 50 designs, a little bit how I made them, and then by then probably I'll have more images of our setup from the farmer's market, that kind of thing. Yeah, more information about that the next time. So if you're not interested in the non-knitting things, you don't have to sit through that during a podcast. So yeah, I'll do that the next time. So besides that, I also got approval to set up a shop on Amazon. So that's something I may be doing over the next few months as well. It'll take a little while to get that set up, but that's exciting as well, to get approval to do that at Amazon Handmade, or Handmade at Amazon, I think it's called. So if I do that, then I will be sure to, I'll post that on Instagram. I have been posting updates on Instagram, so if you don't follow me, there's links below with my Instagram handle. You can certainly do that. So in between podcasts, if you want to keep up with what I've been doing, that's a good way to do it on Instagram as well. So in the meantime, before I show, this special video that I will do next time of all of my charms with more detail, I thought I would show you some of the most recent ones that I've created. I was having a lot of fun trying to think of some charms that can be used now. They can be used for more than just for knitting and crochet. And if you're watching this podcast, you probably are a knitter or crocheter. But I also, when I'm doing these markets and that kind of thing, I want to make sure that my charms can also be used for other things like zipper pulls or decor in other areas. So I've been kind of expanding them. So some of them may be too big for knitting, but they've been a lot of fun to at least make. So here's the first ones that I've been up to recently, and these were little potted plants, and these ones are made with little wooden pots, and then I use the polymer clay to create kind of a succulent plant in those. So those were neat to make as well. A little bit different than my usual food items. It's nice to do ones that aren't just food. But of course, speaking of food, all the rest are that I'm going to show you now. The next couple were based on chocolates. And this first one is, I've got a whole bunch in here, but I'll just show you close up. And these I've made more than. I've already carted up a whole bunch for the farmer's market. So these drawers only have the ones left that I've kind of got assigned for Etsy. This one is a cherry cordial, and this was a lot of fun to make. You have to actually make the chocolate and case around a marble. So I'll explain that more when I do my special video. But yeah, then you do the cherry inside, and then it has a cream filling as well as kind of like the cherry juice running out of it. And so yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. And these were some of my favorite chocolates. We have little different ones in Canada. I can't remember what they're called now. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen. Ours had nuts in them. So these were one of my favorite chocolates when I was a kid. I mean, they still have them now, but they're not as nice now. They're not the real chocolate. They're the fake chocolate, which isn't as nice. So these were fun to do. The next chocolates that I tried are some truffles. So there's a whole bunch there. I'll just pull one out here to show you. These have like a caramel center, and then the chocolate is drizzled with more caramel on top with a little bite taken out of them. So yeah, these chocolates, again, really decadent if they were real, but yeah, they were a lot of fun to make as well. And then the last three kind of go together, and I made these all within a few days of each other. And the first one is something that I wanted to try for a while. Again, I've got a few in here that I haven't carded up. I've got so many more that are already carded for the farmer's market. But all these ones that I'm showing you today are all available on my Etsy shop now. And this one is a hot dog. And yeah, it was fun making these with the, first of all, making the bun with a little wiener in there. And on the side of it has chopped onions, relish, and then 2 kind of squirts of mustard and ketchup. So yeah, this was a lot of fun to make. And so I really enjoy making a whole bunch at a time. So I'll do maybe 2 dozen of the same and just kind of do them all in a big batch. And that way I would have plenty for both my shop and the farmer's market. And whatever I don't sell at the farmer's market and I have on cards, well, then I can restock with either wholesalers or the local yarn shop, that kind of thing. So, and then of course if I did hot dogs, I had to do hamburgers as well. So I did a bunch of cheeseburgers. And these ones I did, they're very similar to like a Kaiser bun. So I'll show you just a couple of these. They're all the same basically, but they're all individual. They all are made, you know, one at a time. They're not using a mold or anything like that. So these cheeseburgers, I started out by sculpting a little Kaiser bun and then coloring that and cutting it in half, and then doing a little slice of cheese. I think you can see the cheese better on this one. So a little bit of cheese on top of a patty, the burger patty, the cheese. Then I put mustard and relish, or sorry, mustard and ketchup are kind of oozing out the sides. And then, of course, some lettuce at the top. So yeah, those were great fun to do. And again, I made a whole bunch of these because once you kind of get going, it's easier to do a whole bunch at a time. And then the last ones, I really love how these turned out. These are some pepperoni and mushroom pizzas. So here's a few that I haven't carded up. There's a whole bunch more already in my farmer's market display. But just show you a couple of these. These I made very similar to my pies, like the lemon meringue or the key lime pies, where I made the whole one and then I sliced it up into pieces. So these pieces of pizza have a textured crust, and they're colored on the back as well. And they have little bits of pepperoni and little mushrooms and a cheese sauce on them as well. So yeah, these were, I really am pleased the way these turned out, because you do a little pepperoni cane first to get the pepperoni looking realistic. And yeah, I'm thrilled with the way those came out. So as I said, those are all up in the shop if you're interested. You know, I'll have a bunch at the farmer's market. If you are in the area and you're planning on attending the farmer's market, please come and say hi to daughter and myself July the 14th or August the 18th. It'd be thrilling to see you. So let's see. I think that's all I have to share with you today. I wanted to also thank the lovely ladies over the Pen, Hook and Needles podcast. Marliesha and Tally are always so very kind to always mention on every one of their episodes my Harry Potter knit-along. And of course, not just mine. They're such great supporters of all kinds of other knitting and crocheting alongs. And they're currently starting their latest one. It's used to be just the cardiac, but they've expanded that. I'm not going to try to say it because I know I'll say it wrong, But head over to the Penhook and Needles podcast. I will link their group in the show notes, and their video podcast in the show notes below. Check them out. They're just starting a new knit along for their group as well. So let's see. As I mentioned, the next episode that I'll do, I don't know when I'm going to be doing it. Probably after the farmers market mid-July. So maybe towards the end of July, I'll do another video to celebrate my 50 charms in my shop, and with some footage from the farmers market as well. So until then, thank you so much for joining me in the studio. Hope you enjoyed seeing what I had to share today, and thank you so much for all your messages and notes of support. I really do appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun to get back and doing another episode. So thank you again. Take care, everyone, and I hope to see you again soon on the next episode. Until then, bye-bye.